The Last Night is strange. It's not great. The movie had so many plot points and stories, but it had a couple of charms. Stop the Time, the entirety of Nitro Zeus, and most of the visuals, but it was just a weird-ass movie. So, how are the toys? Well, Skeletron exists, so there's that, and so does Dragonstorm. Well, those are all bad examples, but the point is the toy line was a bit rocky, but it did have its gems. Scorn, Nitro Zeus, and surprisingly, the retool of Crosshairs. The thing's actually a lot of fun. So this is a retool of the Age of Extinction version, which had a bunch of issues, and this version actually fixes quite a bit of those issues, and that made this version really, really fun. Granted, it still has a couple of things that are not right, but it's a lot less than the 2014 version. So Crosshairs, a far departure from the original, but welcome to the Michael Bay movies. This thing looks really good, if a bit too green. It does need more paint, and I wish there was like a sticker set for this guy. I mean, there is on Toy Hacks, but it's the old mold, so I'm not sure how they'll fit because the shaping of the car is quite different between the two. But other than the paint, the thing is pretty detailed. I liked all the line work, the dashboard looking forearms, and the goggles on the head. I just wish they were painted to look like the 3D goggles. They removed the rubber in the torso and replaced it with these plastic panels that are actually painted, and they look really, really good. Like, they're painted to be accurate to the film, and they look so much better than those black rubbery bits. They also shortened the back of the trench coat to be a bit more accurate to the film, because in the film it rides up at the back. And the trench coat can get out of the way a lot more than the original one because of some of the improvements in that rubber section. They didn't fix the limited shoulder issue though. They are still with all the stuff around them. And the way the joint is shaped, it doesn't work. Granted, that joint does look cool. He also comes with the proper guns this time, instead of those weird ones that it came with. The original came with 3 guns, 2 of which were tiny little pistols that were never seen in the film, and then only 1 of the actual guns. So this time, they made sure to include both the proper guns, and I love that. I also love the bits of silver. I just wish there was more of it. The arms could really use some silver on them, because it just looks odd. It's not broken up properly, and a little bit more on the arms would have helped that cohesion with the color scheme that they were going for on the robot. The back trunk section on his back doesn't tab or lock into place, which is annoying because every time you go to pick it up from the back, it just moves, and I have dropped it by picking it up like this. The guns store in the trench coat, but I do wish they were on the hips instead, because that would have been more accurate because he stores them in these little holsters. Plus, one of mine likes to fall off quite a bit, so that's annoying. The head. I really wish his mustache was picked out, just his mustache at least, and I wish he could move his head better. All this collar stuff, while it looks good, is very limiting and a bit annoying when trying to move his head around. Posing on the rest of the robot is alright. The arms are a bit limited at the shoulders, as I said, but the pads move out of the way quite a bit to like accommodate for anything, and they look really cool in different angles. There is no waist or ankle rockers, but he has forward tilt, so there's that. It is a bit clunky to pose around. The coat gets out of the way very well, but it isn't the problem when it comes to the posing, as some might think. It's the sculpting of the joints that makes it annoying. Transforming it is just folding the coat around the robot, which is fine. I mean, how else were they going to do Crosshairs? This absurd, mind-bending transformation from the film. The panels all fit into place, and the only fiddly bits are tabbing the arms into place. Also, I noticed, and I think I mentioned this before, that Studio Series Lockdown and The Last Night Cogman really feel like they follow the same base transformation as Crosshairs. I think they're all based on the same engineering. I could be wrong, but that's something that I feel with it. The Corvette looks awesome. I love the green and black, and they do something that's kind of rare on Transformers. So different materials are used to make these, different types of plastic for different attributes of the toy to help with both design and stability. Now, usually the stability bits aren't able to be painted over, and the clear stuff gets painted over to help with like headlights and stuff. But when you do that, you run into paint mismatches. A good example being Earthrise Sunstreaker. Because they had to paint the clear plastic on the top to be yellow, it didn't quite match the plastic color yellow, and it looked weird. This guy doesn't have that. The paint matches the plastic color so damn well that I can't tell a difference most of the time. I really liked how they were able to make the painted green match the plastic green and the painted black to match the plastic black. There's no absurd difference between the bunch, and it sells the car mode a lot more to me. I also love how they changed the sleekness of the car. The last toy was very bubbly, too bubbly for the actual car it was trying to be. This one fixes that issue, and I'm super happy with how it looks. Also, they painted the rims, yay! The back is also really well done. I love the jet black and the red taillights picked out in paint. It's super clean. This matte black, I love it. It looks so good. I wish there were more figures that had a more matte finish. Like the shiny is nice, but I'm a huge matte color person. Like my last phone was matte white. I have a matte black mouse pad, matte black keyboard. Like I love it. And this just looks so good to me. I also love the green striping and how it looks really cool. I don't remember if in the movie it was asymmetric or not, because in the Age of Extinction it was. And I kind of missed the asymmetry of the paint job. The whole toy is just fun. It's so good. Yeah, we're probably going to get a new one sometime down the line in Studio Series. They will make them all eventually. But this one is just a really solid and fun figure, and it goes for pretty cheap on the aftermarket. And for its going rate, I'd say it's worth it. It doesn't really scale with most of the Studio Series stuff because, you know, if he was made into Studio Series, he'd be a lot smaller because he was a tiny bit taller than Bumblebee. But as a stand-in, this works pretty well. I'd say pick one up if you want to. Get this over the Age of Extinction one, because that one's got all the issues that this one fixes. But that's my look at Transformers The Last Knight Premier Edition Deluxe Class Crosshairs. I almost said Voyager. That's not correct. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.